Oh my goodness. Let's talk louder. Okay, cool. Hello? 4 people, no likes? What was wrong with us? I'm not showing my face until I get at least 1 like. Maybe I should like this stream. See if I can like the stream faster than you guys can. Oh no, I can't. Okay. Face cam. Wait, transition. Whoa, hello. How is everyone doing? Don't tell Ursula I started without her. She was like, this stream starts at, sorry, I need to sit normal. Chillin' too much. Yeah. Ursula was like, stream time is at 12, and I said, what if I just went ahead without you? So today is the critique stream, which means we are critiquing people, on their art. Hey, you're here. Whoa. I thought you wouldn't be here, but here you are. Is it because I went early? Whoa, what did I do? Okay. Studio mode, leave. Oh. I just quickly read everything. You may have to leave it in a moment's notice. That's alright. We have to go to a family thing today. So I was like, maybe we should try and get things done early. But I haven't informed Ursula. I don't know where she is. So it might not end up being early for you art people, but for the writing people, it sure as heck is going to be early. And by writing people, I mean Nat and AZ. So that's a thing. It's just I'm looking at my phone right now trying to find the thing, but it's not there. So I'm going to open it on Discord instead. I accidentally reset the computer, but I made sure to put all of her stuff back the way I found it, so, you know, I'm a good boy. No? We have to go today, so I was like, let's go. I'm down. I'm awake. Yeah. There's a cat on your sweater. Did she poop in the bathroom? Oh, okay. I was wondering where you were. Okay, anyways, I'm distracted already. This is why I need to go early. AZ. It's always harder to find where the writing ones are because they kind of blur into things, whereas the art stuff does not. I feel like the music has gotten like significantly louder all of a sudden. Maybe it's just a louder song. I'm just gonna lower it a little bit for my sake. Okay, so I read what you wrote, AZ, and I liked it. I always like it. I don't know. How dare you be given all this good stuff all the time. I like the can you not eat that, please? He's just eating the printer paper. Yeah, I like the ratcheting of various tensions. Like, I like what's going on with like Sarah, and I like the whole plot line with the treasure and stuff. And I am excited to see what this twist is going to be. I didn't think it went too slow with like them chilling like going to the top of the mountain together and doing some cute stuff, because like we haven't had a lot of that, so it's good to have some of it before we go back to the difficult things of life and whatnot. Yeah, because it feels like it's moving at a good pace to me. Yeah, and there's the stuff with Rory too, the sneaky stuff going on. Like, that's cool. There's just a lot going on. It's pretty good. It's always hard to tell while you're in the midst of writing how the pacing is. Yeah, totally. This was a transition chapter, but it still feels like the transition scenes work okay. Yeah, it's I could see it being a transition chapter, but it seems to like solidify things pretty well. Oh, it's a transition scene, not chapter. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's like needed pace because it can't be like go 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 the whole time. Um that's fair. I'm trying to make sure transition scenes stay interesting. Yeah. No, they all do good to be interesting. It's very good pacing. Um I liked when Des got home and put the the coat on her. I thought that was good. And I think it's a good like transition. Like it's one of those good like um smash cut. Not smash cut. It's more gentle than a smash cut, but you know what I mean? Where you go from I mean, I guess it kind of no, it isn't. It isn't a smash cut when you just jump in time. Uh it's good storytelling. It's narratively like it's broken into two scenes, but it feels like it's still kind of one scene when you think of it that way. Next chapter is going to be very Sarah heavy. She's been my weakest character, so I've been enjoying working on giving her more depth and conflict. Yeah, it seems good so far. Yeah, it's definitely interesting what's going on with her, especially yeah, compared to the last draft. It's definitely more fleshed out with her, so I'm interested to see where that goes. There's a little white cat stalking in the background. What is she doing? Where are you going, Multi? It's alright. Oh, that's a fluffy cat. That's a real fluffy cat. I don't know where the heck she came from. Yeah. Like, maybe within the context of reading this back to back, like, I might have trouble with the pace, but I don't even know, because honestly, it seems fine to me. I don't really have an issue. Okay, you doing a great job. Oh well. It's accountability, right? Like you were saying. To get things done for the stream. I guess it's not the worst thing to hear that everything is good. It's kind of a good it's kind of a bop. These streams keep me writing. Well, that's good. I need streams to keep me writing. But you know, not gonna happen. Okay, I'm gonna move on then, I think. I pay money for guaranteed trap. It's collateral, right? It sometimes works. It's just like, well, I'm paying for this, so I better do it. That's kind of how they hook you on like mobile games and stuff, right? Just do that to yourself. Take advantage of the sunk cost. I'm here, got you on in the background, but I'm driving and will be for about 30 minutes. All right, have fun. Don't drive poorly. Yeah, drive good. Sorry, I'm really focused on the cat that's just like she's just on my shoulder. She was just there. She wasn't physically on my shoulder, but like she was just like in the background, so she was just sitting there. Okay, the next one I look at is Nat's. Opening it because I know that Ursula has it already open. I liked it. It was good. I'm just waiting for it to load. No, I did like it, and it is good. Um, I liked having. I like that you have integrated the bird thing more into it because it is such a big plot point within it. I liked it being more mentioned now. Um, and like the tension ratcheting up, ratchet. Remember Ratchet and Clank? I guess you don't have to remember it. It's still a thing, right? Anyway, sorry. That's called ADHD. But yeah, tensions, ratcheting, good. Um, some action scene that was cool. I enjoyed. Um, I don't know. While I was reading it, it just reminded me how interesting and cool the world building stuff is in this comic. It's very cool and fun and interesting, and it's got good characters, and it was fun seeing it like all play out. Um, I know some of it I've probably seen before, like I vaguely recall it. It's been so long. Um, but yeah, it is nice to see it, regardless. Um, and I like the seeds kind of being sown, for like that major conflict between the two characters at the end. Um, yeah. Mm, it's just exciting and good, and who's yelling? Miku's yelling? Oh, it's she's in the kennel right now because she was annoying me. Okay. Yeah. Keep at it. Ursula can tell you more. She's art lady. All right. Thank you for seeing me. You guys can all enjoy the beautiful Ursula Gray. Yeah. Oh, you got a cute cat too. What the frick? Why you all got such cute?
Okay. Oh, he left his phone. No. Hi everyone. I was not prepared to stream. But my who's band is silly. I'm sleepy. So am I. Get to my shit.
Like half an hour early for you.
My window disappeared.
Oh, you should have done a transition thing.
Well, I wasn't prepared.
The reason it disappeared was because I tried to turn the computer on and it was like, I reset it. So
Oh.
you'd just be happy that I got your tabs back.
Thank you. Okay. My goodness. Alright, Nat, my friend. Hello. How's everyone doing? It's so bright. How are we today? Nat, so what did you say?
I'm a Miku Hatsune fan. I got that Miku shirt and I got the
Miku,
Miku cat.
Miku. Hold on.
Sorry.
Hold on. Miku.
I got a Miku shirt and I got a Miku Hatsune right here.
The Miku. Can we get a little meow?
squeeze her like bagpipe. No. Want to be right side up?
Yeah.
You don't care.
She's soup.
Oh. Whoa.
Well. Okay, so what did Nat say? Yeah, I don't know. It's like what Bones is saying with AZ, where I'm just like, it's good.
I gave you 3 worms, leave me alone.
Like, there's so many lovely compositions, and like I know you're focused on the inking in here, so I guess I should focus on that. But yeah, it's all very dynamic. It's very strong. Like I always say, you've got a very good sense of like your line work is very like energetic and lively, but it still feels like very structured and you know, like it doesn't feel like a sketch. If that's what I mean. Yeah, it's looking nice. I love the integration of like the sound effects. The only thing I would say, I didn't really notice it before, but I think on these pages, I would be careful with all of the kind of like action and motion lines happening. I think you've got a good sense of like where to use them. Like it doesn't feel like you're using them in like weird spots or and like they fit the flow of the action. You're late. No, we started early. Bones is a silly man. Oh, sleepy. Anyways, but I think there's a lot of these motion lines. Where like this page I think is one, these 2 pages. For one, when the friend is like jumping out and defending Alia while she does her magic stuff. Just like there's a lot of motion happening in front of her, and it doesn't. I think this panel in particular, it feels like it's just a bit too much. And then here, the motion follows like the creature and the action well, and it's well composed and stuff, but I think it could be cleaned up a little bit, and I think it would help keep things like nice and neat. So that's just something to be aware of. Yeah, but otherwise everything is very strong. But yeah, I think otherwise everything is very strong. I think that would be my only big feedback from the chapter that you sent this week is just be very careful with all of the action lines. I think they can get a bit too much here and there. So just pull them back a little bit and you'll be good. Yeah, otherwise everything is very strong. Nat, I don't think you're here, but if you have any questions, please let us know. And I guess we'll move on to the next one. Who would like to go next? I know Kairos is here. For other people who need to be critiqued, we have Kuroe, we have Rumpeltyltskyn, Ink, Junkpixel, Pigment. I'm here, why not? Let's go. Okay, so... where are your notes? Where did I put those? Sorry, I'm just gonna... sorry, I'm opening your notes and I don't want to, like, show them off to everyone, because I don't think you'd appreciate that. I'm trying to pull them out to a different window. Okay, here we go. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, so you said there's a bit of a style change over the course of the pages, just because of how long it took. Totally relatable. My page summary was very professional. Less. Okay, so new style versus old. What do you think has improved in the new style? What could still be improved? Is any dialogue less legible? And then you're wondering about the language system being confusing. Okay, actually that is something I noticed. So in this note you said when the language is indicated within the text box, it means all subsequent dialogue is in that language and stay in said language until it's indicated otherwise in a new text bubble. I found that confusing actually when I was reading it. Because I assumed that they're speaking one language. So let's say they're speaking Sinese. I assumed that so what I assumed is that everything that wasn't in one of these little language indication bubbles, so you have one like they're talking in Sinese and then here they're talking in Nice. I assumed that, let's say the language up until this point has been Sinese. I assumed every time there was a speech bubble that didn't have a language indicator was like Sinese. And that whenever you indicate it, they were saying it in a different language. I knew it makes sense to me. The thing is, like, it's really interesting what you're doing, because I like that there's multiple languages going on and that they're speaking it. And I think what you were trying to do is very interesting. I think a way to change it is that you may want to have different styling for your speech bubbles depending on which language they're speaking. So it could be like a different font is used. It could be a different shape for the bubble. And then maybe the first time, or like within a scene where it's like Sinese, you can indicate that, and then hopefully it'll be known that like whenever you're using this kind of speech bubble, they're speaking Sinese, and then when they switch to Nice, it's a different kind of speech bubble. It is difficult because if this was like prose, like a long form written thing instead of a comic, you could easily put in a tag saying like they switched to speaking into Sinese, and then later on they're like then they switched to Nice. But yeah, which is kind of what you're doing in the comic form, but it's a little harder to follow. Yeah, so I would, considering having the speech bubbles be different colors for different languages, that could work. Yeah, I think that is a good indicator. Yeah, honestly, different, yeah, different colors can work. Whether it's different, maybe the text is a different color, provided you're keeping your contrast up. Or the background of the bubble could be a different color, like you have a thought bubble that's different than your speech bubbles, for example. You could do different font, different style of text. You could do different shape for the bubble. Again, your thought bubbles are shaped and colored differently than your speech bubbles. Yeah, so probably just pulling something like that for the different languages would also work. And then, yeah, and just every once in a while you may need to, like, while it's being established, you may need to indicate this means Sinese, this means Nice, kind of thing, the way you have. Yeah. Yeah, give it a try, see what you like. As for the different styles, so I'll just be mindful not to show, like, the last page. Right, because you go from, I don't know, the inking style, it still has this very kind of, like, textured not sketch, but, you know, textured ink quality. And a little bit of, like, textured painterliness to the colors. And then as you go along, it becomes a little bit more, the line work becomes a little bit more soft. You're using more colored line work instead of black, like just black line work. And it feels like you've leaned into the kind of like textured painterliness to it. Admittedly, this is a very like dramatically lit scene. And same here. But yeah, but it feels like you've kind of leaned into the lighting affecting the inks a bit more than previously, where you've laid some colors on top of the ink, for example, and you're leaning into more kind of like ambient lighting instead of more not cell shading, but it was a bit more like, I want to say hard versus soft, if that makes sense. Last page has been posted now. Oh, perfect. Okay. I do like the color choices you're making a lot with the new style. I mean, I think you did that previously, where you'd use color changes to really show like interesting emotion, but I think you've done like I noticed in the later pages, like there's some very nice use of like lighting and like color atmosphere changes depending on the panel. Like when it's a surprise or when he's doing like a little kind of jokey aside. Or like, you know, he's having an emotional moment. Where it kind of breaks from the typical flow to really enhance the emotion. So I think that works really well. Your contrast is good in the new stuff. I think there's some places, I noticed it in, say, this scene, where you've got some kind of like smudgy shadows going on, where they're standing in this kind of like dark hallway, and then you have this like warm light coming in from like the previous room they were in, where I find the lighting is a little bit I think the lighting is a little bit muddy, if that makes sense. Not the color of it, but like the application of it, where it feels like it could be the contrast could be heightened. It feels just like a little bit blotted down instead of really showing off the shapes. And there's parts like here where the main character is like looking back into the room, where the one side is very like warmly lit and the other side is very like coolly lit. And same here. But I find is it the ex-lover who he's speaking with, where the lighting just feels like a little bit lacking, where it could use a bit more strength to it. But I do find later on, like this feels like when you're kind of transitioning to the new style, I find later on like it works very well. I think you kind of worked out that issue there. I started to get bored of the yellow light. That's fair. Oh my god, that is so relatable. Like when you're working on a comic, you're just like, oh my god, I know it's one scene, but like it goes forever and you're like, I just want something new. Yeah, no, I understand. But I think you treat it very well. I think you treat it well. Right, so then you're wondering, were there any pages where dialogue and structuring feels weird? I didn't find anything felt weird. The only thing I found confusing was the language stuff, but I found everything very easy to follow, like flow-wise. It was easy to tell like who was speaking, like what order they were speaking in. The dialogue was enjoyable, and well laid out, so it's like easy to read, if that makes sense. And as for stuff converging into single pages, I don't think so. I didn't find anything where it's like, oh, this should be a single panel, or like, oh, this should be a single page. It felt very... There's a lot of good variance between your different shots. Oh. Did one of the cats leap off the... Oh my god. We have a little bookshelf behind one of our sofas that has like, there's this little Kirby figurine with like a Max Tomato and like cute little stars and stuff. And we have a... Oh yeah, one's gonna show here. Look, it's so cute. Oh, it's so cute. It's one of our little tchotchkes. And we have, is it Zoroark? Zoroark? That Pokemon. We have a little plushie and some other plushies and stuff on it and books. Oh. This little guy. So cute. Anyways, so a cat must have gone and thrown it all off onto the couch. Right, what I was saying. I think there's really good variance between the different shots that you use without it getting confusing about, like where everything is in the room. I think you got a good sense of like structure and blocking. That cat's a little hater, exactly. You understand. They're like, no, I'm the cutest thing here, not the plushie. Ooh. But anyways, yeah, there's good shot variance, but everything, like you don't lose where everyone is in the room. You've got a very good sense of like the structure of the room or building they're in. I think there's good like following of emotions. I think there's a good sense. I like the sense of miscommunication between, not miscommunication, but like the language barrier and understanding barrier between the characters is really interesting as well, and I think you show it well through your visuals. So I wouldn't say there's anything that is like egregiously needs to be like condensed or expanded. Yeah, and I think there's good... Yeah, and like I was saying, there's good emotional follow through, if that makes sense. Like because sorry, I was reading your notes and you were wondering like if like the twists make sense, if there's like too much info dumping, or like if I understand the character's emotions, if I understand the exposition. I honestly think it's portrayed very well. It's very easy to follow like how the characters are feeling and kind of suss out the information we need. And I didn't think it was too abrupt of an ending. I think it's honestly a good place to end the scene because it leaves you wanting to like hear more, but it's still like a good close to like the purpose of the scene, if that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, did you have any other questions on that? Because I think it did a really good job. In my opinion. The next scene, they basically haven't moved much, if that's any consolation. That's fine. I'd honestly like... because this is such like an information heavy scene. Actually, I'd have to see how it plays out with like the other scenes in sequence because it's been a while since I've read through it. Yeah, you may need like a scene sequel, meaning like a scene where they kind of digest the information that's going on. Bones could talk more about what those are like, but and I'm sure he has videos on it somewhere. But yeah, but when you have like big revelations or big pieces of action, it's nice to have a scene where like they kind of digest things and like kind of follow through the logic of what they figured out to help the audience understanding and to take like a breath. And I don't think you need to like have them moved to like a very different spot. You can totally pick up a scene like sequentially right after the scene that's just happened. There's no reason to like jump in time unless you think there's a reason to. A lot of mini scenes to digest. Yeah, totally. I think that's a good idea because when you do give out a lot of information, it is nice to like sit down, digest it, repeat it, and like it's a hard balance because you have to find like an entertaining way to like move the story forward while digesting information, but you got that. You're a competent writer. Yeah, awesome. Cool. I love this panel. It's so good. 10 out of 10. Yep. Hello, Drastic Daniel. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Awesome. Okay. So, Cairo, unless you have any further questions or concerns, would anyone like to go next? Is anyone here from the Patreon? Oh my god. A demon just ran by in the background. I'm at a coffee shop. Give me like 5 minutes. Okay. Sounds good, Junk. I'm glad you found the scene entertaining, even with, as long as it is. Thanks for the critique. No problem. Thanks for submitting. I think it was a great scene. A scene can be long. Listen, okay, I'm working on the webtoon version of Bones' novel, Books of Avo, right now. The first scene is so freaking long. It's a good scene. It's got, like, beats to it. I think that's the same with the one you just made. Like, it has little beats and, like, scenes within the scene, if that makes sense. Even though it's, like, one scene. So, they can do that. They don't have to be short. Okay, how about I cover someone else before Junk so that they can get situated. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for submitting. Also, that's a question. Junkpixel, do you prefer to go by pixel or junk? Okay. Maybe Kuro? Because it's a short form one. I don't know if Kuro is here. Alright, anyways, Kuro, I have 3 characters for design crit. They're triplets. May I have a critique on the colors and perceived personalities? Okay, I'm not reading the text. Either is fine, JP, if you like acronyms. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, so I'm not reading any of the text. I'm like blurring my eyes so I don't look at it. Okay, so perceived personalities. So these are triplets. First off, the colors, like, they feel like a team. They feel like maybe the main team, just because their colors are very, like, warm and friendly. But yeah, they're all just like a mix between like the very warm yellow and then these kind of like sepia brown colors. And then they have like a little bit of kind of pinky red throughout like the skin tones. And everything is just like a variation on the yellow or the brown. Their coloring is very similar. They have different hair colors, but skin tone wise, very similar like eye and face shapes. I do like how they have very different like body types, to kind of like separate them. But they still have these very like, interesting little kind of like through line through them. Like the one I noticed the most is like their bangs structure. Where I like these two, Eve and Morn, where they have like the same bangs, but it's like flipped, which is cute. Oh.
This is a reminder. Do something about
Alexa, stop. Thank you. Robots, I swear. What was I saying? Yeah, and then I honestly think for Noon, there could be a bit more, like they have the same like shape to the hair, like the bang structure. I keep saying. I think it could be pushed a little bit more to kind of match the other two, but it does have the same shape to it, which is nice. Anyways, personality-wise, so Noon, I feel like, is very serious and is like, very like stone-faced, like that kind of like serious, like flat expression kind of character. Who's like no nonsense, but like a big sweetie inside. Also, she's 7 feet tall. That's a lot. That's intimidating. So maybe she's intimidating, but she's actually a sweetie. That was my theory. Then as for Eve, Eve seems like more of like a peppy, kind of spunky, happy character. Like kind of cheering everyone on and is like kind of silly. Just because like wearing like the shorts and like the hairstyle, it just feels very like girlish. Like not super like childish, but kind of girlish, if that makes sense. Younger. And then Morn feels like, I mean, he's styling. He's looking kind of, he's looking, kind of dapper with his little outfit, his little bow tie. And he has like a very kind of soft expression. I could see him maybe being like the baby, the baby of the group. But I get very like soft boy energy from him. He feels very like, he feels very maybe sweet and kind of not quiet. I could also see him being a bit cheeky. I feel like him and Eve are kind of cheeky. compared to Noon, who's very serious. Anyways, that's my personality read. Yeah, like I said, the colors all work really well. I like the difference in their body types, where even though they're like kind of similar because they're triplets, I like the variation in the height, in their body language and stance. I think it really tells their character, where like Eve's got this very like strong, confident stance, and then Noon is very like, you know, very straight backed and almost like military kind of stance, very serious looking. And then Morn is a bit more kind of like, what's the word? Jaunty, a little more fun, a little more relaxed. You might be able to make your critique. Hell yeah, Rumpeltyltskyn. Okay, I think if Junk is able to, we may do Junk's first and then yours once I finish up Kuroe's. We'll see, unless Junk is busy. I'm ready whenever? Okay, awesome. So we'll do Junk and then Rumpeltyltskyn. Okay. So, alright. Okay, so they're triplets, but Noon is born on March 13th at noon. Then Eve was born in the evening, and then Morn was born in the early odds. I mean, I guess the early morning of the following day. Okay. Mechanical engineer, eldest child. Chemical engineer, middle child. Medical doctor, youngest child. Okay, so they're kind of like in a military kind of group, or some kind of team thing like that. I mean, it makes sense. They're all named captain and doctor and stuff. Interesting. I'm intrigued by the characters. I'm like, what is this team doing? And they're all so tall. What the heck? Why are you so tall? I mean, we stan some tall cuties. Anyways, yeah. Color-wise, and contrast-wise, I think everything works really well. And hopefully I got the personalities correct. Kuroe, if you have any questions, please let me know when you see this. The coffee shop is so busy. Oh no. Alright, Junk. Let's look at your stuff. Okay, you also had notes. I'm gonna quickly open them secretly so that I'm not showing them to the world if you don't want them shown. Okay. Right, so you wanted to know... Right, so you wanted to just like a blind look at the pages to just see what I think, see if it flows okay, panel placement, if anything's confusing or inconsistent. And you're looking for thoughts on the character designs. Oh, sorry, not really looking for thoughts on character designs. Thoughts on the coloring. Right, so you're working on coloring backgrounds. You wanted some feedback on that. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so when I was reading through, honestly, I find your paneling it's very good at like, it's very concise. Oh, you wish you could have got more done. That's okay. There's always next month, right? Honestly, what you have done is like a lot. Honestly, comics take so long. Right, but what I was saying, I find your paneling is very concise. Where what you're showing in each panel is very... It's very focused. Like, I think you have a very good sense of, like, the flow of time in your panels and understanding that, like, what you need to show... Like, each panel has a very specific purpose, which I appreciate. Like, nothing feels superfluous. Because often I'll tell people to condense panels. Like, they may have kind of like panels that are repetitive or redundant, I guess. Like, the information is shown already, and they can just condense panels to kind of like help the pacing. But I find here, like, you have a very good sense of like back and forth between the characters. I really enjoyed this panel with the characters seeing each other. It's very like... It's just well placed. It's well blocked, if that makes sense. Like blocking on a stage. Where you have the characters' reactions and then you pull out to show them. You've got a good variance in like... showing backgrounds versus close-ups. I feel like you're utilizing them well. Where... like, it's very purposeful, like, what you're showing. When you're showing emotion, you're very clearly, like, doing close-ups. When you're getting, like, the appearance of the character, you're showing, like, the full body. I love the change from, like, the close-ups of emotion to, like, showing them where they are in the scene in this, like, pulled out view where we see everything of them and the background and stuff. I worry about exactly what I'm putting in panels. I think you do a good job with like deciding what to put in. Yeah, and there's a very easy flow to it where, because of where you've placed everything and where you've put like background panels, I can understand like where everyone is. Where you'll have an establishing shot, and then we'll see the characters like in front of the same building, and then we see that door of the building open. Like, it's very easy to understand like where everyone is. Same with like the opening, where you have our character who's at the shop, and then the door jingles, and then the character walks up to the desk. Like, it's very easy to follow what's happening. There are a lot of different versions of these first pages. Those two panels side by side are ones I really liked. I wanted to keep them. Hell yeah. I think they're great. They're a very good choice. Right, so then you were also wondering about the background stuff. So I think for the page that I've seen that is colored, so just this first page here, as for the background design and stuff, I think you've got a good sense of like how much detail to put in. So we have this establishing shot of the shop where we see like the shelves and the counter. It's very easy to tell kind of like where we are. It's hard to tell from... That's okay. I'll give you what I can from the one page. Right. And then we have the close-up, where I like how we can still kind of see the background of the shelves behind this character. And then we have the door, and the coloring, plus like using a reverse shot helps with like understanding this is still like, this is the door, this is the front door of the shop, there's the bell, they're coming in. And then the detail behind our main character doesn't matter as much because we're focusing on that the character has like a tail and that they're wearing a hood and that they have this thing that they want to sell. Where like we're less focused on the surrounding detail. So I think you pulling away from the detail to focus on the character and the kind of like the action of the scene, which is like the interaction of them trying to sell this. Yeah, I think it's a very good transition, like color and detail wise. The one thing I will say for the colors, well, I think you have a good sense of like color cohesion. So the use of the greens and the turquoises and these browns and oranges, and then you have this kind of like bluey purple color that's used for the carpet, and then in the background here, it's very cohesive. It fits well together. It's very harmonious. You use this kind of light yellow as like a really nice highlight for like the sound effect, these little lights. And I think you have a good sense of using, in this scene in particular, I'd have to see other scenes, but in this scene in particular, it feels like you're using darker colors for the backgrounds and then some lighter colors for the foregrounds, like the characters. And then things we need to focus on, like the sound effect. The one thing I would say, though, is I think you need to up that contrast that you already have. So it's hard because you're blending the character into the scene well. But I think there needs to be like a bit more pop between, say, your characters and then the background they're on. So right now, I think what you could do is just lighten these colors up a little bit. You could bring in a little bit more vibrancy into the main characters and possibly darken, maybe desaturate the backgrounds a little bit. Just so that your foreground elements, and it doesn't have to be characters, you know. If you didn't have a character in the scene, you can use the same kind of contrast idea for, you know, an object in the foreground versus like stuff in the background. I want to use differing values more in the background. That's something I noticed after. Yeah, it can be hard to judge, and sometimes like you need to kind of fiddle with it afterwards. Yeah, so I would just up the contrast. So for like the goat character, like lightening up his coloring and then darkening the background. And then what you could do for your main character here, because you're kind of shadowing the face because it looks like, you know, they're kind of hiding. You could maybe darken them and then lighten up the background. That's something that's possible. But I think right now the contrast is just kind of muddying it between the two different kind of like planes. Wondering about speech bubbles. You use Procreate too, so I wanted to ask if you had any tips on making speech bubbles and lettering. Yeah, the one thing I would say for your speech bubbles, what I tend to do when I'm lettering, is I will put down my text. I usually, when I sketch out my page, I'll put down where I want speech bubbles. But then I will put my text in, and then I will draw my bubble around the text once I have it like laid out how I want. Just so that way you're not having to change like the size of your font to fit into the speech bubbles. You want your, as much as you can, you want your text to be consistent in like size and treatment. So like when you use italics or bold, for example, you want it to be consistent how you use it. So I don't want to put down a speech bubble and then I'm like, oh, there's no way my text can fit in here. So then I shrink down the text. Like you want to keep it consistent. And then where you can maybe play with the sizes. If someone's whispering, you can make it smaller or use italics. If someone's yelling, you can make like the text really big. Or however you want to play with it. So yeah, so that's how I would do it in Procreate. Just because it can be difficult to place text, so I usually fiddle around with the text and then figure out the drawing underneath it after. Procreate's not my favorite for text. I used to use Clip Studio, and I found that a lot easier for making speech bubbles. The only other thing I would say for your text, I think your speech bubbles are great. They fit around your text really well, where it's not like, I don't feel like the text is like squished into the speech bubbles. It fits well. The only thing I would say is that I find the kerning. I always mix them up. Anyways, the line space between your lines of text, I would tighten that up. So you should be able to do that in Procreate. Because there's a lot of space between your different lines of text. I would tighten it up a little bit. That's just a personal preference. Or if you want to keep it like this way because you like the space, like it's fine if you're like, I like this choice. I like how it lets the text breathe. Just make sure that you have the same amount of space from like the edge of your letters to like the outside of the speech bubble. I'd call that padding. Just so that it doesn't feel squished. Because, for example, this speech bubble that I'm highlighting here, it feels like there's so much space in between the letters, and then there's not very much space like surrounding the text. So I would expand the bubble or tighten up the letters. Because you always want to make sure you have kind of like breathing room around your bubbles. You do a great job with like having the bubbles follow the shape of the text, which is how speech bubbles should work. But yeah, but just making sure they have breathing room is very helpful. So for example, I like here where they're saying like, I have a friend. That feels like a very good amount of padding. Yeah, that would probably help with spacing in the bubble. Definitely. Because if you can condense it, like you don't want it so condensed that it's like hard to make out. I would maybe take off like 30% of the spacing here, if that makes sense. Yeah. Was there anything else you were wondering about? Oh, I also wanted to say you're very good with perspective. Like, I think you do a very good job with placing your characters within the perspective of the scene. Like, they feel very, very well integrated into the space. I think that's it. Awesome. Well, thank you for submitting. Yeah. Because that was your first submission, right? Thank you so much for trusting. I think I'm bad at perspective. Disagree. I think you're great. Disagree. I think you do a good job. Awesome. So, right, Rumpeltyltskyn, you wanted to go next. Thank you. Great first crit stream. Awesome. All right, my friend. Rumpeltyltskyn. Okay, so you're looking at design critiques. So these are main characters for my new project. Give me a vibe reading before looking at their descriptions. The project is a mix of eldritch horror and romance. Oh hell yeah. Okay, so I'll go over the vibes. So Lou, my brain says that Lou has like a poet soul. He looks like an artist to me. I think it's the earrings and the long hair. I'm just like, oh, sweet baby, does art, loves nature. I don't know why I get that vibe, but I get that kind of like, like, I feel like he would own a bookstore, you know, like that kind of like gentle soul kind of character. I'm also getting very like, as for setting, like it feels very modern, obviously, because they're wearing very kind of like contemporary modern clothing. What I was going for, hell yes. But I get like, I might change my mind when I look at your other character, but I feel like I could imagine this in like the West Coast, you know, like America West Coast, like Washington area. I don't know why. I just get that vibe. And then for Rowan, Rowan looks like a tough baddie. I get like kind of beast vibes. Like I get kind of werewolf vibes. I don't know if he's like a werewolf kind of character, but I get this kind of like monstery beastie vibe from him. I love the style. I love the jewelry and the choker and stuff. Like that's just cool. Very punk. It's set in Rhode Island. Okay, I can also see that. I'm just getting like coastal vibes. I just think like coastal areas are just very appropriate for like eldritch horror. You know? Anyways, yeah, so very tough. Like he seems very like confident and smarmy, kind of. Like that kind of like, you know, smirking at everyone. Like very tough, like go away. Use my bad attitude as a way to keep people away from my heart. And then maybe very quickly turns to anger, and I think that's like the beast vibe I get from it. The scars are very interesting. It looks like that autopsy scar has happened, which is very not good. Yeah, and he's got a lot of scarring on his face and through his whole body and stuff. Which is curious. I'm like, what story stuff is going on here? What's this mystery? And I think if I'm looking at these characters and like reading the story vibe, I feel like it's like Lou and Rowan meet, and Rowan is like in the horror eldritch monstery stuff. I'm like urban fantasy kind of vibes, and then Lou gets kind of like brought into the mystery and is like trying to figure out how to help Rowan, and they fall in love. That's my vibe. Okay, so I'll read the descriptions. So Rowan is a hothead, but fiercely loyal. Oh, bless. Cares deeply for people he's close to. Lou's his best friend. Is it friends to lovers? Oh my god, that's my fave. Right, and so they're totally pining for each other. Okay, Rowan's pining for Lou. Okay, they're searching for Lou's lost sister when Rowan is kidnapped by a cult. No. Okay, so he was killed and he comes back different. Okay, and then Lou has to protect him after he's gone through these changes. I'm into this. This is a story I would read. Right, so Lou is very calm and level-headed. I can totally see that. But a little bit nervous. I could also see that. He had a rough upbringing and was taken in by Rowan's family. Okay, so they're mutually pining, but he's like, no, Rowan sees me as like a brother. Like, we can't be in love. And Rowan's like, hell no, we're in love. That's cute. Okay. Right. So he's traumatized over Rowan's death. And then when he comes back, it's like, what the heck? I don't know how to feel. I am traumatized. But also have my friend / crush is back. I'm into it. I'm so into it. Okay. So okay. Right. So I think that makes sense for Rowan, why he has all these scars, obviously. Like, clearly there was some kind of, like, culty business experimentation stuff that happened. And he was killed. And then brought back. So the scarring and stuff makes sense. And if it's, like, he came back different, I can see this kind of, like, angry beastiness could be, like, a result of that mystery, whatever happened, right? I also noticed in the eyes, because that's why I was thinking, like, maybe he's, like, a werewolf or a beast or something, was he's got these, like, kind of clouded, interesting eyes. Because you do use, like, a white for the iris, with your design, but I noticed that, like, while Lou has, like, very, like, well-defined lined, irises and pupils, Rowan's are more kind of cloudy looking, which is very interesting. He went through a ritual. Oof. Poor baby. Protect him. Yeah, so the eyes are interesting where it gives that kind of like magic-y vibe. I'm curious about the age of the characters. They do look more mature, like maybe kind of late 20s, early 30s. Even mid 20s for Lou. I think Rowan looks older because of the scarring, where some of the scars on his...
My coffee isn't there, go away.
Miko, don't be afraid.
Okay, our cat Miku, she always tries to steal Bones' coffee. He usually sits right behind me in the morning and drinks his coffee. And Miku's like, I'm gonna steal some. Dips her little paw in like a freak. Anyways, some of the scarring on Rowan's face looks... It can look kind of like age lines. Oh my god, I'm so sorry for bumping the mic. It can look like aged lines. They're mid-20s. The scarring definitely makes him look older. Yeah, so if you're fine with that, that totally works. But yeah, just to warn you. And I think it's just like... It's the scarring on his eyes, like under his eyes, and the one like by his mouth that just gives that feeling. Like it looks like bags under his eyes or like lines by his mouth, like those kind of like, you know, age lines. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you want to change that, you can. If you don't, also works. But the thing is, like, the way he dresses, and I think like his demeanor feels more like that kind of mid-20s vibe. And Lou definitely looks like his age, I think. Yeah, and I get that just from like the shape of his chin and jaw and like the facial hair and stuff. Like he just feels a bit older than like someone who's like early 20s. Yeah, I think, yeah, Lou, just from like the style chosen, like the way he dresses and stuff, as well as like just like the softness around his eyes and like his eyebrows and his posture and stuff, like it just feels a lot more kind of like softer and calm, whereas like the line choices and like styling around Rowan is a lot more kind of like rugged and sharp. So I think there's a very good contrast design wise. It's also interesting color choices where I like how Lou is very like, he has some very muted colors to him, but he also seems to have like blue as like a through line, whereas Rowan has more of these like reds running through. And the orange hair obviously is like a very good contrast to the blue. So I think they make a good pair, very good like high contrast. Between them. But I think there could also be... I'm just thinking of like... what do you call it? Because when you have characters who are like not together as like a romantic couple, but like together as like your protagonists or like on the main team or, you know, good guy versus bad guy group, you often want them to like, I can't get out. I love you. Get out of here. I think because you have some through line with the Browns, it's hard to tell, because we see more of like Lou's outfit, because you're highlighting Rowan's scars here, but there's some Browns like with the jewelry and stuff, as well as like the clothing choice, that could mesh well with the Browns on Lou. Like you might want to have that like color through line between them where they have something that kind of like brings them together, because you can use the blue and orange / red as like a good contrast, and then maybe you need some kind of like element. It could be color, it could also be like a visual motif, like a shape, to kind of pull them together. I think I would recommend that. I think that would help kind of strengthen the pair, if that makes sense. I think it works. He also is worn tired after what he went through. Totally fair. Yep. For having the kind of like older look to him. I think that works. Yeah. Did you have any questions on these? I'll keep that in mind when I draw them together. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Pardon me. Ooh. Some. Are ink or pigment in the chat by chance? It's Rumpel. Can I call you Rumpel? If you have any questions, please let me know. But if ink or pigment are in the chat, please let me know if you would like to have your stuff reviewed next. Yes, you can call me Rumpel. Ah, hell yeah, Rumpel. So cute. Okay. If neither ink or pigment are in the chat, I will start with ink. And go over the pages. Oh. Bones. Could you let Serena in?
Oh, she's up.
Yeah, she's just been chilling. Okay, ink, what did you say? What did you say about your submission? Oh my god. Oh! Hello, White Wolf. Oh no, she got penguins. Oh no. Oh no, she vicious. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's a silly dog. Oh my god, I cannot find your submission ink. There it is. Some pages from last month. I added a couple more scenes. They're mostly done. Versions of past submissions. That were sketch pages. My main question is, does the hooded character look consistent? I'm out of town. Okay, so you'll review later. Okay. Let me see. Right. You were wondering if they look consistent. I mean,
You leave that penguin alone.
I'm fairly certain everything is pretty consistent because they have like the little. Sorry, she has a little Hey, Bones. She has the little braid that kind of sticks out from under the hood, and same with like the bangs in some of the shots. For one, I think like the silhouette is very recognizable. She has this very like, you know, the shape of the hood as well as like her colors stand out quite a bit because she seems, I mean, Abo has like a little bit of teal on him, but she's got so much teal as like part of her design as well as like the purple skin and eyes. I think she's very recognizable. The only thing I would say is that consistency, her braid keeps like popping in and out, which can work because obviously if you have like your hair under a hood, it's gonna move around. And not every panel you need to show the exact same thing. But I would just keep in mind like where her hair is and how her hood is covering her face. Because yeah, there's some places where her little braid is showing, her bangs are showing, and sometimes her hood is like more forward. I honestly think her hood, in some places it feels like a hood, and in some places it feels like tighter than a hood. And I think there could be a bit more consistency there. So for example, this page, it feels very much like a hood because you can see kind of like inside the hood, you can see some of the shadow from the hood on her face. Whereas other places it felt a bit more tight. It could be that there isn't shading done on some of these pages where like they're still a work in progress, but I think I just like to see a bit more like shape to the hood, where maybe because it can be tight because her outfit is a little bit like kind of skin tight, but I don't know. I think I'd like to see a bit more shape and movement to the hood, where because like for example here in this panel up top, where she's lifting her chin back, but the hood is still very much like forward and feels kind of like plastered to her face, where I feel like we'd see kind of like the underside inside of the hood, if that makes sense, at the front. And there'd be a bit more, it feels like her hood is in perspective one way. Hi, Miku.
She's so needy.
Come here. Oh, I understand. I'm also needy. I understand. I'm also needy and need attention all the time. And I cry and I cry. Don't push the mic away. Silly girl. Yeah, she's like, stop paying attention to chat. Pay attention to me. I'm Sha? You are? Lisha. Anyways, it feels like her face is in perspective one way and the hood is in perspective another way. So that's just something to keep in mind, I think, when rendering her. Which can be difficult because sometimes the hood is facing one way and the face is facing a different way because the hood is attached to the clothing and the face can move around inside it. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. Right, but looking through, like I said, your atmosphere work within these is great. I like the change of atmosphere when they go to like different places. So for example, yeah, he's in like it's like a tavern or an inn and he meets the hooded figure. Yeah, and I love how the lighting and atmosphere changes through color, where they go outside and it's that like cool night coloring throughout, and then like in later pages where you show the I love this page. Like it feels like there's still stuff that's being worked on, but I just love the atmosphere whenever you do these like big establishing shots. There's such a highlight in your work. It's awesome. Yeah, and I'm excited to see like atmosphere be filled out here because we have a wonderful establishing shot. But yeah, just really great work with color and atmosphere for your characters and the setting. I think composition-wise, everything works really well. Because I remember previously I was telling you, I think it was in an action scene where it felt like the composition sometimes felt a little, not the composition, the focus of the composition felt like pushed off to the side, like it wasn't quite focused on correctly. Whereas I feel like with these pages, everything feels a lot more, everything's in its place. Where like when you have an establishing shot where we can still see the characters in the cart, but the focus is like showing that they're in this setting, when you have this character explaining things, you know, a character talking about these characters here. Like it's, the focal point works well, there's good flow. The only one I would be a bit careful with is down here of the above of them in the cart. Miku, can't leave. We have to cuddle. Oh, I'm sorry. She was not about it. I ruffled her fur. I'm sorry, baby. Forgive me. Right. But anyways, I would just be a little careful with the perspective here. It feels very much like there's a lot of, I guess it's not the perspective per se. It feels like there's a lot of space for Nira down here and very little space for the text up top. So you may need to shift some things around to make sure that everything's in the proper focus. But I think overall in these pages, it's very well, the focal points work well. Overall. The character interaction is great. Character expressions are great. Yeah. I think it just worked out really well. Yeah, I'm very excited to see these all come together. I love when you put in your coloring and atmosphere stuff. It's such a highlight. Awesome. Okay, Ink, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm going to move on to Pigment. All right. So I have a single comic page and technically 3 character designs. Okay. The first is Blaze, who you've seen before in the comic page. They're my next campaign character, and I imagine them in a scene, so I made a short comic of it. I'd like your feedback on this page. This feels like a reveal splash page, like what everything's building to. As well as improvement on their design. Okay, and you included their old design. Right, okay. For context in the page, they're using their full power and their lava body gets so white hot you can see their bones. That's so cool. Hi, Bones. Right, so I remember this character where, yeah, it's like a fire, magma, elemental spirit. I don't know D&D, so I don't know what it is exactly. But, yeah, fire powers, inside armor, and you can see the glow. Right, so then they're using their full power to kill God or something. Some anime shit, you know? Right. I love that the fire is green. That's so cool. That's so metal. Right, and then it's a little hard to see. Hello? Can I close up, please? No, I can't close up. Chrome said no. Well, anyways, I can see the bones beneath the fire. We're right. It's so white hot. That's so cool. Yeah, it goes transparent. You can see the bones that are like glowing green underneath. The design changes are interesting. I love the hair. It feels almost like wings. Like, I think part of it is that they seem to be in a temple or a castle probably a temple or a church or something, because there's like these lines of pews and then you have like the stained glass behind them. And then having like the hair kind of like fall around them like wings. It's very, very cool. The armor. It's changed a little bit, I can see. I love the use of like overlap and shapes in it. Like I love how you can kind of see I just love how you've built up like the plates in the armor. Where previously it was a lot of like large pieces, and obviously they had detail. Like I love the overlap of like the gauntlets and the shoulder pieces and like the I remember the chest piece where it looks like a forge kind of thing that can like be opened. But yeah, but I love just the buildup of the plating. Like I love how you have this like I want to call it like kind of scale looking stuff, like for the like the inside of the legs, and then you have this like kind of plating put on top of it, and it has other layers of plating. And it just creates very interesting texture. I love the kind of volume you've added to like the gauntlets, where it's very, it just feels very like voluminous. It feels very, it's just really great detail work, and like it feels like the shapes are really built up, and it's just very cool armor. And it feels like there's lots of like movement in it as well, where like there's lots of ability to like move at the joints and like the finger joints and stuff. But yeah, super cool layering and stuff. It really adds to the character. Great work on the detail for the armor. There's great contrast between the armor and then the character, with like the hair and the white hot magic, and then the armor is very dark and gray. And that was great contrast too for the character previously. Like even if it was just green showing through, like the brightness and vibrancy of like the fire versus like the gray kind of dark colors for the armor, like it's really good contrast. The framing of the page is great. Like I love how it's just very like in the center, it's framed by the fire, it's framed by the stained glass, everything is kind of like pointing in towards the focal point. And it's framed very, very well. For the text, I would say I think it needs more contrast with it. It gets eaten a little bit by the background because it's black text on like a very dark gray background, and there is the fire. The green is behind it, but I think it's still low contrast. And I think, honestly, what you could do is you could take this glow effect that you have around it, turn it to this like bright green and like up it more. Like I think if you surrounded it a bit more and kind of like surrounded it by flames, it would work really, really well. And really help highlight the text. Alternatively, you could flip the colors where the text could be green and you could use like a black outline or glow or something. I think that would really help with the contrast, because it's so funny. It's a really funny, it's like funny and cool, where I think it would really shine to like show it more. And I love how it follows the shape of the composition as well. Like that's great text work. I think there's a little bit of a contrast issue, maybe not contrast, but like kind of color clash issue with the stuff going on with the stained glass and the other kind of character magic stuff going on in the background, where it's so, the white and the gray and the green, I really want to see them pop, because we're showing this character's like full power coming through, and it's coming through with their flames and stuff, right? So I'd love to see, because from what I'm guessing, they're calling upon like a deity or something, or a spirit, or like their patron god. I think that's how it works in D&D. Don't quote me. But it looks like they're summoning this spirit or even another important character for like this moment. And then you have, I'm not sure if it's part of the stained glass, is this character with a hammer in the background, or if that's part of their power. And I think that's the issue. So I think with this character that's like this white outline glowing spirit character, I think you need to bring in the green more if that's part of their power. If not, you could do something contrasting, like a bright pink would contrast really well with the green. But right now it feels just kind of lost with this stained glass in the background. And I think the stained glass, if you change the colors so that they're... I think they just need to be like muted a bit. It's hard because you want to show like it's like stained glass. There's like this rainbow and like flames and stuff and this character in there. But I think just the way it's framed, it's so high contrast compared to like the spirit character. It's got so many colors in comparison to like the white, gray, and green that it's kind of stealing focus because it's the most colorful point. So I would recommend maybe like pulling the colors back, whether that's like fading them out. Maybe you need to use some like, instead of using all black lines in the back, maybe like fading them out to like a gray or something. But yeah, I would honestly darken the background. If you're gonna have maybe like light coming in through this stained glass, I think it needs to be, the colors need to be not reduced, but like, I think it just needs to be more cohesive and kind of fit with the green, if that makes sense. And again, that can be pulling it towards the green colors, or it could be doing a high contrast, like a pink or something. Yeah, and I think the browns of the church or temple that they're in are also pulling focus from the green. So I would mute those, change the colors a little bit, possibly pulling them just to more desaturated and gray so that they kind of blend in with the background more. But yeah, composition wise, great. I just think there's some color stuff happening that's like messing you up. But otherwise, great concept, great composition. Love the character design. I freaking love that armor. That is so cool. I love just like the layering and building of it. So cool. Ah, so that's it. Pigment, when you watch this, if you have questions, let me know. Okay, so the second is admittedly a self-insert D&D character. Listen, that's what D&D is for. No shame. My friend and I are goofing around. I decided to make a fully built level 20 version of myself in the world of D&D. And the other one is Sabria, a fire and air Genasi? Again, I don't know D&D, I'm very sorry. Who will be in the story I'm currently writing. She was Gira's wife before he married Aurelia. I'll limit spoilers. Just, she has a tragic end. No! But she's cute. But overall, character designs for each character and any feedback. Okay. So character design stuff. So for your self-insert, I love. So I'm guessing you're like a dragon kind of character, right? Okay. For one, love the scythe. That is so freaking cool. I love the effect of like the lightning that you have going with it. It's got such great contrast with the character that you've drawn, because the character is very like dark colors, and then you have this very light, saturated, like lightning scythe that is so cool. So I love that. And yeah, the magic effect on it is just very cool. It's very lively, dynamic, super cool. And it creates very good like shapes with your character, where you've got like you've got just like good movement through the character and very good like crisscrossing dynamic lines and stuff. And I love how the green works well with the scythe. You've got this like kind of green through line, and then there's like the kind of purpley gray color underneath, and then some browns and stuff for like the kind of wrappings and the belts and etc. Also, we love a pentacle. Hello. And I even like how the brown kind of matches with like the dirt stains on the bottom of the tunic. That's very cool. Okay. I think the contrast could be heightened within the character. There's great contrast between the character and like the scythe. And I think there's decent contrast between like the background kind of texture stuff versus like the character's color. Where they stand out. It's a very good silhouette. I will say though, it's very dark color on dark color. So for example, I think the contrast could be upped between like the face and skin versus like the hair. Color-wise, super great. The eyes really pop. I think I like how you're using like a very similar color, just darker in the hair. I would just push that more, where maybe the hair needs to be darkened, maybe there needs to be more highlights on the scale/skin to make it stand out a little bit more. And then I'm finding with the greens on the tunic, they're also just very dark, very similar in value to like the hair and the skin. Maybe you need to lighten some of it, maybe you need to darken some of it, but there's a contrast issue there. And then same with the browns for the belts. And even, well, the bandages, the wraps on the arms are, they're fine against like the skin, /scale. Oh wait, is that skin? Yeah, it is. Sorry, I saw the texture on the palm, which is like scale, but I for a second I was like, is that a glove? But no, it's just the character skin. Yeah, where there's good contrast between that, but then between the green and then the kind of beige for the wraps, like the contrast needs to be heightened. And yeah, same with the belts. The items on the belt have good contrast compared to the stuff behind them. But I think like the big pieces of the character, the contrast needs to be heightened. But the texture is very cool. I love the texture on the horns. I love the little details of like the little pendants and knickknacks and stuff. I love the detailing on the belt. I think your detailing game is just like skyrocketing. You've done a really good job with like little details on your characters. Oh, Bones left. And now all the cats are on the couch. You made it warm. They had to go snuggle there. You're not allowed to sit there anymore. That's their spot. Oh, goodbye! They all leave! Alright. So that's my 2 cents on your self-insert character. It was very cool. Okay, for Sabria, who's a character for your campaign. I love the skin, like, treatment. Where it looks like she has, like, a glow from within. Like there's like a fire underneath, or a glow light source like underneath her skin, and you can see parts where it's like shining through, and then like it's like when you see, if you hold your hand in front of a fire, where like your hand looks very like desaturated and dark, and then you'll see like bits of light shining through. Like that's what the effect that you've created here, which is really cool, where it just feels like there's this inner light, and then where there's maybe like, I don't know, skin or muscle or bone or whatever overlapping, like it's darker, and it's very cool. I also love her body type. It's very just realistic. Love a big lady. The way you rendered her tummy is so cute. Yeah, but yeah, just so cool with the way you've colored the skin, where like she definitely is a character who has dark skin, but then there's also this like glow effect underneath it, which is very cool. And the contrast is awesome. I love the like gray eye. I love the jewelry that really stands out. Same with like the color on her lip. I'd love to see a bit more of that on the bottom lip as well. Like if the glow is kind of shining through, I think that would be cool. Maybe if it's not like the full lip, but like a little bit of almost like a, you know, like that kind of look where it's like a lip stain that like gradients out from like the inside of the lip to the outside, something like that, but with the glow. I think that would be really cool. Just my 2 cents. Yeah, and then I love the little gold touches. They stand out really well against her coloring and stuff. I think I also love the design of her clothing. I love there's so much like flowiness to her outfit. The way you've rendered the folds and stuff is really beautiful. I think there's a contrast issue. So for one, I love the transparency on the wrap that's like around her. Where it, yeah, I think it just the way you've used like transparency and stuff, it creates like a lot of visual interest and stuff. But I think there's an issue with the kind of turquoisey green that you've used, where it needs higher contrast with like the tone of her skin, where it's very dark and it's kind of muddy against her skin and stuff. I would be interested to see maybe it's like brightened. Like the color in her earrings, maybe not exactly, because that's kind of what you're using for the wrap. But yeah, I just think it needs to be brightened. It just feels like it goes kind of, it just needs better contrast, honestly. And then I freaking love her hair. The shape of it is gorgeous. It's got so much like great movement. You can see that it has like curls and volume, and it's so pretty. I love the braids, and then the overlap over her face is just so pretty. And I love how it kind of like fades out, like it's almost kind of smoky, like if she has this like internal fire and then there's like this kind of like smoky effect to her hair. It's very cool. Yeah, super gorgeous. I think, yeah, again, it's just there's a little bit of a contrast issue. It's same with the hair, where I like the tone shift in it, where it goes like you have this very dark part of her hair to kind of frame her face, and then like the bangs and stuff that's in front is a little bit lighter. But I think there is a contrast issue between her skin and this part of the hair. I'd like to see it darkened, even if it's not like the whole thing. Like you can use this like lighter kind of brown black for like highlights, but maybe just bringing in some detail around it to kind of like keep good contrast between her skin and her hair, if that makes sense, like outlining it or shading it. I think would really help. But yeah, such a cool character design. I am in love. Also, I'm sad she has a tragic end. She's so cute. Don't die. Or be sad. That's bad. Awesome. So yeah. Pigment, you're not here, but when you see this, please let me know if you have any questions. And that's that on that. That's everyone. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all for submitting and joining us. And if you yourself are watching this and you're like, dang, I want to have my stuff critiqued, you can sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link down below. And every month we do these critiques where we look at comics, we look at character designs, your writing, your artwork, whatever you got, comic pages, all of it. We'll look at it and give you feedback. So make sure to sign up if you're interested. And thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye. Mwah.